All right, what's up? Welcome back. It's your boy. Oh my God, it's your boy Dr. J.
Mr. Wash.
No.
Nigga, keep on.
Yeah, that's right.
This is What's Worthy Podcast. This is your weekly conversation on mental health, social issues, and other contributing factors plaguing society. What's up, y'all?
What's up?
Man, okay, so I actually started that wrong because I forgot what I say first. I say the podcast, then I introduce, and then I say the podcast again. That threw me off. I'm sorry, y'all. Anyway, we're gonna try something new this week. We're gonna go ahead and jump right into our topic. So, well, the biggest thing for this week is that we got a 100th episode coming up. So
100.
We've been doing this. This episode is technically the 99th time that we got together and recorded.
99.
Even if we aren't all together every time.
Yeah.
And I missed an episode or two. Ashley's missed a few. It's always been something. So overall, there's been 99 episodes. So,
99. That's a lot.
That's a lot to have on them.
Yeah, and so we're coming up on 100. So I guess we're gonna ask a few like reflective questions over like, well, because this podcast is built on the fact that we're supposed to, discuss some taboo mental health concerns or even taboo things going on in society and how it affects us mentally. So doing the podcast, what is one of the effects that this podcast has had on you, like just recording this all the time?
A place to vent. So this is like a therapy.
It's kind of like a therapy session.
Yeah.
It could be that.
And also, I learned a lot.
Name one thing you learned, Ashley.
Ooh, I really want to say something. What did I learn? 99. Let me see.
You really had a loss.
No, I actually do learn a lot about how y'all think. I be like, men don't think about shit. But y'all actually got emotions, and I learned that y'all really sometimes care. Even in my head, I be thinking y'all don't care.
That's true. I think a lot of people think we don't care, but and possibly that's kind of true. But what about you, Wash? Like, what is one of the effects that doing the podcast has had on you?
Shit, work ethic. Because I say doing this, like I say this is the 99th time we've done this. So this is spanned over like a 2.5 year time frame. So shit going on 3. So like I say, just learn the practice of like saying stay consistent with something outside of your regular work that you can usually do, whatever, to do it. Learning the different guests we've had over the time we've done this, different personalities and stuff. We'll talk about that later, which one interview or whatever we had kind of stood out more to you or not. But like I say, just for me, the most things, just the consistency of it kind of just stood out of doing this podcast and learning more about us in our black community, just people as a whole, just not black, white, or whatever. You know what I'm saying? Just like having a good open conversation that we really don't have, but we have with each other, kind of behind closed doors, and people, like you said, people you don't think actually talk about this. Like some of the stuff that you brought up before during some of our episodes, you be like, I didn't know men felt like that.
Yeah.
And stuff like that. So to actually have that open conversation is, saying something real.
I was gonna say, I'm probably on the same page as both of y'all. Kind of just getting to see. Well, for one thing, consistency. Having consistency on anything for me is big. Like we've talked about it on here before about like losing weight and working out and how you have to make sure you get to the gym 5 times a week, whatever. It's hard to be consistent on pretty much anything that you're not getting paid for. You know what I'm saying? So like you show up to work every day. Because if you don't, you ain't gonna get no pay, and then you can't pay your bills.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So to have consistency in something that we not really getting paid for at the moment is a blessing. To be honest with you, just psychologically, you know what I'm saying? It makes me feel somewhat accomplished just because of the simple fact I'm actually doing something on a steady basis. Because we put out an episode just about. I mean, we've had breaks in here and there, but it's been almost every week for over 2 years.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, and the consistency part of it is like I seen the interview with was the rapper dude, kind of white dude named Russ.
Yeah.
Yeah, and he's talking about he puts like a song out on the internet like every week.
Yeah.
And he's
just a song.
Yeah, just a song, whatever. Like he put out an album, whatever. But then he like for every week he'll put out something. And he was like before he started popping, whatever song actually popped for him, whatever. He was like, it was the fact that people, hey, I like that song. let me see what else he does.
And they go back.
But they go back, and by him doing it every week, now he has a catalog that you can go back and see, like, oh man, I like this what he did, and I like that, blah blah. Versus when people be inconsistent and do something every once in a while, people might like that one thing you did, but they can't refer back to nothing else, or really, you know what I'm saying, get a grasp of who you are and stuff like that. And like I said, with us doing this, like not doing 100 episodes, you know what I'm saying, if let's say this episode of the 100 episode pops off, but we are starting to make money from it, you have people that the powers that be actually look at something like this and be like, okay, I like what they did right there. What else has they done? And they can go through all of our shit.
True.
Yeah. And I know we're gonna get into it a little bit later, but like I was gonna say, there's like some standout episodes to me, to like some of the interviews we've done, or even just some of the conversations that we've had, where like some things that we've talked about have like really been some very important issues. You know what I'm saying? And I think that in hindsight, as we go back and look back on episodes, we're gonna see that like a lot of those conversations are really important. Yeah. And I mean, this is a good episode for us to mention, you know, some of the ones that we look back on as, you know, for other people that are maybe hearing this for the first time, you may want to go back and look at some of these episodes that we're talking about, or listen to some of these episodes we're talking about, because it was a lot of good information. Like, we covered a lot of good material, and like Ashley said, like I said, I'm piggybacking off of what both of y'all said. The consistency was helpful for me, and that's an effect it's had. But also, it's just being able to be vulnerable and have those conversations. Like, I know that I do therapy a lot, and I don't have a problem opening up at all most of the time. But it's different whenever you have like open dialogue with people, and you know, you relate. I mean, because we do it anyway, but you know, actually recording it so that other people can experience some of the thought processes that we go through. Like, especially like Ashley said, like as we as men. Yeah, because usually you don't hear these conversations much from men.
I always wondered, do y'all sit around and talk like that?
I mean,
a lot of conversations.
Yeah,
sometimes we just don't have them with y'all.
Yeah, like we're not gonna be in a group of men and then it's like two females and we're gonna be like, hell yeah, man, I was scared last night. And like, you ain't gonna have that conversation. Not when you potentially may want to talk to somebody in this room. Then you sound soft.
Yeah, because you want to feel vulnerable. Because guarantee, while you might be that other woman in there and you hear me be vulnerable, you be like, I really like that. It'll be my partner with somebody, nigga, you on that gay shit, blah, 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 and stuff. And then now you hush up, you're like, let me be quiet.
Yeah. You gotta be careful.
That partner.
Like, Ashley is the one you gotta worry about. But
what do you think?
You crying?
Yeah.
Like,
crying.
She over there like, oh, then he's like, you crying, nigga? Like,
ain't no crying, baby. Like, okay.
Yeah. So I mean, I think that's one of the big takeaways that I had, was just that being able to actually have the conversations and having it on an open platform so that other people can hear it. You know, because you never know who's listening or who might take something away from what you say. Like I was told, when I was researching podcasting in general, like, you know, one of the things that they said was, you know, you could have 10 listeners, only 10 people listen to your podcast, but that's like sitting in a room with 10 people, and 10 people are sitting there listening to you. Yeah. You know, and everything, they're hanging on everything that you say, possibly.
Great. I would never thinking like that. Thanks a lot.
Yeah. So if you have, let's say you have 100 listens on the podcast, that means you just spoke to 100 people by yourself. Like, you and you had 100 people listen to your conversation. Yeah. And so as your audience grows, whether it grows a lot or it doesn't grow at all, you are affecting somebody. And so, like, I think that was the biggest effect the podcast has had on me, is just, you know, taking all of that stuff into account. But as we stated before, we're going to talk about, like, who do you feel like was a standout guest? We're going to go guest first, and then we can go episode. I know some of that might, like, coincide, but who's a standout guest that you think we had? Anybody can go first. Y'all don't have nobody. I got it.
I already know what you're going to say.
Yeah, no, y'all go ahead.
What you got?
I was going to say when we had me on.
Ah, that was mine.
Yeah, everybody. But I'll let y'all expound on that and stuff, because I know that was like a little jarring thing for y'all, like that, because I was kind of like, you know what I'm saying, okay, I'm, like I say, talking to different people, trying to set up interviews and stuff like that. So actually to have that interview and for y'all to be in that situation, that was a little different. But I would say I won't, like I said, that was one that was different for us. But I would go the most one for me was your boy Chris Green. We had him on. And the reason is, you know what I'm saying, Chris Green trainer. Hey, if you in Houston, northeast side of Houston, make sure y'all go to Who Could Blame You, Hookah Blame You.
Yeah.
Yeah. So make sure y'all stop through there and stuff like that. But I bring that up because that showed us kind of a direction where we need to go. Cause
we argued on that whole time.
I'm saying between him and Ashley arguing about stuff. Him and Ashley arguing about stuff.
That's how I really talk.
Or him and Ashley arguing about stuff. Of us smoking hookah on here, you can hear that.
I almost died.
We drinking and shit.
Yeah.
It showed from that episode. It showed us that
Like
you know what I mean. It showed growth because it's like
I think I fell out the chair.
After the episode, we got more structure.
Yeah.
We made some like segments and shit, whatever. Because it was like, hey, it's a lot of shit
What?
going on.
What? Yeah, like,
That episode was all over. Like, I don't think we stuck to any like particular subject. We were just talking.
Yeah.
And so it just got it got wild. And so like there wasn't structure, and we weren't actually focused on anything.
Yeah.
So after that we were like, okay, we need to focus. We need to really focus it from now on. And so like the guests that we had on from then on, we explained the structure before we started recording and everything.
Yeah.
Like it changed the game.
So like I say, it's nothing negative. So like shout out to Chris because you got us right.
Yeah, you did.
And I'll never smoke a hookah on
Yeah,
the podcast
you
again.
could hear it the whole time.
Whew.
You heard the
I was coughing.
Yeah.
Yeah, I fell out the chair. I think I got dizzy.
Yeah.
Like,
It was so much going on.
Yeah, that was a lot.
Yeah, but that was mine.
I'm trying to think of who else because I was gonna say me, but I think me is kind of a given.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so like I want to
That was
think
good.
of
I
somebody
learned a lot.
besides that.
That was a good podcast at the time.
Why you say that was a good
You
one?
learned a lot. I didn't know anything about the transgender world, period. I don't know anything about that.
Yeah, no, I didn't either. In fact, I think I said it on that episode that like I really had like it took growth for me to get through the episode. Like by the end of the episode, I felt changed.
And let me explain this because we talking around it, whatever. But like, no, we had Miss Mia X, Miss Mia Michelle on Twitter and IG and stuff like that, and she's a trans activist. That she also has a podcast called Marshall's Plate.
Mm-hmm.
And stuff. So if y'all ever looking on different places where you can find podcasts, check that out, Marshall's Plate. And she does that with other hosts, host Z and Diamond Styles. I want to say. So it's those three that does the podcast. So make sure y'all check that out. But like she was a trans activist, whatever. So it was like a lot of our conversation was talking about her dealing with different activisms, like how she kind of brought up, you know what I'm saying, in a different world, and just getting her views on a lot of different things. And it was like very informative, and I think everybody learned something from it.
Yes.
You know what? And so like I had to go back and go through the through the actual episodes to figure it out. But one of the other real standout things I remember, and it's not a particular episode or a particular guest, but I think just all the other local podcasts. And whenever we have a local podcast on here, we're able to actually discuss, you know, some of the hardships of not only doing podcasting, but just, you know, life in general. Like those conversations actually went really well when we talked to Single in the Loop, Everything Cultural, when we talked to Indecisive Vibe,
Truckcast.
It's like natural, yeah.
It's a good natural flow of conversation. So I think that stood out to me as when we had guests on to talk to people that, you know, have some shit to say, I guess.
Yeah.
And then that way we can kind of tie things into, you know what I'm saying, like what we talk about. Because we talk about a lot of deeper conversation, and then people would leave here and be like, man, I didn't expect the conversation to be that deep. But we have deep conversation on here, even though we joke and stuff. Like our topic, our subject matter is good. Mm-hmm. And like when we get other people on, we get to actually discuss our subject matter with people that talk about other things. And so I think that having other people on from other podcasts was one of the highlights of, you know, having guests and everything.
Yeah.
All right, but go ahead.
I think we had Truckcast on for last Valentine's. I thought that was funny.
Oh yeah, we did.
Yeah.
The Valentine's do's and don'ts.
Yeah.
So that was about a year ago.
Yeah.
Almost a year ago. So yeah, no, they were really
good.
good.
I think they got something tonight.
Yeah.
Oh.
They have threesome podcast.
Oh,
they have an
okay.
event tonight.
Yeah, they probably have an event tonight. But in the same vein of like your favorite message, in the same vein of your favorite
episode of the podcast.
Guest. That's what I was trying to say. I don't know why I was so tongue tied. But in that same vein as your favorite guest, what do you say is your standout episode? Because like I said, we can say guest because Mia X and everything. I mean, Mia Michelle and everybody was on here. And those are good guests that we had. But like, was there an episode that stood out, whether it had a guest or not? Like any topic of conversation that you can think of that was really a standout topic for you? I was gonna say, I think one of the things that I have is just we kind of talked about toxic masculinity probably a couple times because it was different things coming up that portrayed toxic masculinity, and I think that giving it different perspectives on it was good. That's why I liked when we had those episodes. Mm-hmm. I mean, because we could even have one now because of the whole Devontae Davis situation and all that kind of stuff going on. Like there's always something going on that has to do with men acting out and being aggressive and doing things like that, or other forms of toxic masculinity. So I think that the fact that we had multiple episodes on that makes that subject matter like real important as out of the stuff that we actually talked about. But what about y'all? Y'all have any subject matter that y'all can think of that was good?
Just looking at these titles.
Oh,
y'all killing me on this. Like, they kill me on the titles. I don't pick none of these titles.
I'm probably saying, what titles stand out to you?
Pissed on or pissed off. Like, there was one I was just like, oh wow. Like, really? With your friend that came on talking about, I don't like talking about sex that much. I don't like talking about sex.
We had
I gotta stay a little quiet on that.
On Six Guru.
Yeah, I was like, I'm good. I don't know what to say. That one actually, I probably was listening more, taking notes.
Who was it? We not guest on that pissed off episode?
No, it was just us. What we was
talking about?
I don't know.
And we were talking about getting like flown out to Dubai and stuff like that. I think, and about getting people paying you a lot of money to pee on them or to get peed on and stuff like that.
No, that's when you talking about her going to Dubai.
Yeah. Yeah, getting paid that 20K to get pissed on. To go get peed
I need
on.
it now. I don't know what I said, baby.
That was actually a good conversation too, because I think that we, like I said, we tackled a lot of taboo type subjects, so that was a good one for that type of subject, because we just actually sat down and talked about people going to Dubai and going to different places and getting paid for outlandish.
Yeah, outlandish sex acts.
Oh, okay. And I'm right now I'm just scrolling because there's another one when we talked about kids. That was and he came. Kids have come up a couple times, but one time we had Danetta on here, and we were talking about. I think it might have been when Ashley wasn't here.
Maybe. We had Danetta because they was on here one time, then Danetta was on here one time by herself.
Whatever time I know Danetta was here because we were talking about cussing out kids, and that's where I got the title from.
I did listen to y'all talk about it. I wasn't here for that one.
Yeah, I just remember that because I saw the title, because I said the title is that's my damn kid, and so like I remember that because Danetta said that in the.
That's where y'all be getting. It's funny how you get the titles because somebody said that shit.
Yeah, somebody gonna say that shit.
Like, really?
But so she said, because we were talking about how like parents be like cussing out kids because it was like a viral video and his mother like cussing out a kid or whatever, and like a lot of people were saying that's normal, but then it was in the same moment there was something that went viral about a teacher getting in trouble for cussing at a kid, but the same kid had been cussed out by the parent or whatever, and they were like, well, and so that's when Danetta was like, well, that's my damn kid, so if I want to cuss him out I can, but you can't. And so like we had a discussion of psychologically how does that affect kids, you know what I'm saying, like if okay, I like the one we talked about beating, because I guess everybody thought I think that came in there too.
Yeah, we talked about your worst whooping, I guess, and like y'all stories. I was like, oh, y'all really got beat. I don't know about you. Your story.
She's gonna be like,
that's you. You was the good child. His story, I can relate a little bit.
I was the good child too. Shit,
I can relate a little bit. I mean, I was out there. But not out there. No.
But I would say that, like I said, I never got beat by my mother one time. But my grandma used to whoop my ass.
Good. She knew what was inside of you. Beat it out of them.
Get those old leather purses they used to be having and cut the straps off.
Real
whoopings, whatever. And my aunt was just a G with
Hit
that
him
shit.
with the pot, Grandma.
Go get a wet towel.
Yeah.
And whoop your ass with that.
I don't know why your mama didn't whoop you, but she should have.
Yeah.
Black History moment.
Another good. I don't even say like the episode itself was just good, but I think the premise behind the episode was good. And it was that Keep That Same Energy episode from Ashley. It was basically Ashley episode. Yeah. Because it wasn't really an episode where we talked about a lot. It was just when you got on here and just started venting.
When I was probably pissed.
You was.
Which one was that? Which
You
one?
was at that party at the pool.
The pool party. That was my birthday, so I was pissed off. Oh, for sure. I remember.
Yeah, and
But
all you did for the whole
calmed
episode
down.
was talk about how mad you
And that's why I said this show has helped me learn. I did talk about that.
Yeah.
And I feel today like that's fucked up. But
I know you do. I know you do.
But you know, it helped me vent to get to where I am today to be like, you know what, you can't do everything with everybody.
And I think, but because of that episode, it kind of.
I got in trouble for that episode.
But I'm saying
Like,
that
straight.
gives credence to what we are talking about with this whole show. Is that sometimes you have things that you need to get out. You need to talk to a therapist. You need to, get some things out. And that was a good example because Ashley went off for the whole episode.
I did nothing. Yeah. So, what? Did you ever get in trouble? I know it just ain't me. Did people feel some type of way about hearing?
Episodes?
Yeah, I've got a question. Because you have the situations where you talk about certain subjects, people like, so, are you trying to subliminally like shoot a shot, or are you trying to say something?
Bang,
like,
bang.
I was gonna say I've had it where somebody thought I was like trying to shoot shots at them subliminally, and I've had it where like I ain't know that about you. How come I ain't know that you over here talking about it on the pod? I was like, wait, I didn't think about just explaining it to anybody else. And we just happened to talk about it on the pod, so I brought it up.
I haven't got that before.
What, that you didn't tell somebody something and you said it on here?
That's not how it went.
Well, yeah, from the people involved, that's how you get.
Yeah.
I'm talking about somebody that was not involved in the situation, but they thought they were close enough to me to know
I've
something.
never got that before.
Yeah.
You telling a story that they never heard.
They ain't never heard before. And so they like, oh, so you can tell them this, and this. But
That's
only
only women to say that shit.
Right, that's why you ain't never
Yeah. Men don't give a fuck.
Yeah,
like I said.
I ain't never heard about that.
Yeah, you ain't
Men
never
don't
told me.
Men came, I just had a little incident. That's not how the whole story went. You, on this part, broke that shit down. I was like, as a matter of fact, if you want to come on the show, because we can talk about that shit again.
I'm about to say, what's happening at minute 10, 45
Yeah.
seconds.
I was like, I'm not apologizing.
If you go right here to this timestamp.
Yeah. You ain't tell them how you was acting in the beginning. I was like, oh, okay. They don't even know all that.
I mean, but I think that comes with open conversation.
I'm washing shit.
Oh, yeah, I forgot
To this
that
day.
washing dishes stuff.
To this day. Oh.
But I mean, like I said, I feel like this
I ain't
is
washing dishes.
that's a testament to like the conversations that I had because our conversations are supposed to be open. It's supposed to be talking about shit that like we really go through or we really been through, and then so sometimes people go get catch a slug here and there. And it's not intentional. It's just that like we talking about what we talking about. So
right.
That's like that's what
everybody thought that was my fake boyfriend.
One of my favorite preachers used to always say, he's like,
your favorite?
I don't know, he was back when I was up, but he used to always say something and it would be like real triggering for people, and he would always say, I ain't talking about you, I'm just talking about what I'm talking about. And so everybody be like, oh, okay, oh, you talking to somebody, preacher? And like, no, I ain't talking about you, because or like what the other preachers say, you ain't gotta say amen, just say ouch.
Yeah.
You ain't gotta say amen, just say ouch if I hit you.
Ooh.
But I mean, I think that's what happens with the podcast. Like we gonna have open conversations. So I mean, you might hear something that has something to do with you, even if it don't have shit to do with you. You may feel some type of way, but that's kind of what we want. We kind of want to open up the dialogue to where people are having a good conversation. So before we close out of this episode, because like I said, it was gonna be short. We're just kind of discussing what we're gonna do. I want to end with, tell me if you've had any like positive responses from people, because we just said some negative stuff that happened when people listen.
Yeah.
Have you heard anything positive, like positive responses from people?
I actually did hear something positive. I didn't think I would. I was kind of nervous to talk about the makeup thing, and I did ask Alan like I do like hit him up the next day. I was like, man, I said that, and I think he's gonna take it the wrong way, and I'm more.
Well, say what you said. What did you say about makeup?
That I felt insecure because.
You would get more compliments.
Likes,
and
likes. I get more attention when I had makeup on. That it had me think twice about myself. And I was like, nah, you tripping. Like I had to really talk to myself, be like, you tripping. I got so many more DMs or somebody saying like, I felt the same way, or women just saying stuff, or men be like, nah, that's not the case, but I still feel like it's the case. I mean, like, nah. So like,
but you know what? But people will reach out to you and say things that you
like
know.
when I'm glad you said something. I ain't never want to say that, but that's how I be feeling. But I gotta wear. Like some women don't think they pretty without makeup because of the likes they get from social media.
That's what I'm
Social
saying.
media got you over here thinking like you really can't be your damn self. We filter each other up so much. I look like Ashley Ray 2019, like 2020 something. Like it don't look the same no more.
Yeah.
Cause we scared to be us.
Mm-hmm.
Because it's y'all fault.
It's not y'all.
It's y'all fault. I blame it on men.
Yeah, no, it's everybody.
Y'all
Everybody
use
kind
filters.
of.
I wish we could.
Y'all
I
do
mean,
use
men,
filters.
it don't really work for us. To some
Please,
extent.
I know some dudes use
Well,
filters.
no, I know some niggas who use filters too.
I be
but
like,
I'm
you
just
filtered
saying.
the hell out that nigga. You ain't that bright. I'm just saying.
Oh wow. I mean, but like I said, I think that is a real good thing that comes from it is that those conversations come out to where like like you said the makeup thing. Like you would think nobody else feel this way, but I feel this way, so I just want to say it because it's in the conversation, and then you get feedback from people, and they be like,
The
nah,
people
I
I
feel
never
that too.
thought that like I see them all the time on like taking pictures, which like they always pretty. She like I feel like that too. I thought, oh, okay, that was cool. Like we need to have that conversation.
Yeah, so that's the positive thing that you got from it.
Yeah.
Yeah, and like I said, I'm saying both. Like I say, the positive thing from us doing this is kind of like the feedback that you get from it. Like I said, it's never the people that you deem close to you that hit you out. But like I said, the positive thing is to be people that you never met before or whatever.
And I like,
hit you up
yeah,
and be like, hey man, like I said, I feel what you were
yeah.
saying. I like what y'all doing.
Mm-hmm.
And so like I say, people that, and they be people like I know whatever, but I don't talk to at all. You know what I'm saying? I just randomly see it at an event or something like that, and they put me to the side, whatever, and be like, "Hey man, I like what y'all doing," and blah blah blah. And I'm like, "Oh well, shit, I never know you was paying attention."
I mean, and that I was gonna say that's my biggest thing is that like it's never the people that you expect. You know what I'm saying? Because you have your people that you're close to be like, "Oh yeah, no, I'm gonna give y'all a listen, blah blah blah," but then like they may or may not listen. And it's not really important to me. But what's important to me is the people that randomly come to you that you ain't never really talked to like that and be like, hey, when y'all talked about this, that was, that really hit home for me or whatever. Because I've had that happen, especially we talked about, I want to say one of the times that it stood out to me was like when we were talking about beating kids, I think.
Mm-hmm.
I think it even opened up a conversation on the Instagram. We had comments under it where like we were talking, people were discussing how they felt about, giving kids whoopings. And I think those kind of conversations are necessary. And so like when those conversations are opened up, then a lot of times you get a lot of positive feedback from that.
Mm-hmm.
Especially when we talk about anything having to do with relationships and stuff like that.
Was it Aisha Curry?
Oh, the Aisha Curry thing.
That
did.
opened up a lot. I didn't know women really felt like that made me open my eyes how people really think different.
Yeah.
I be thinking like, nah, women ain't gonna be mad at me if I say something. Yeah, I had a couple of folks kind of like,
Yeah, and you have people on both sides of the fence.
Yeah,
though. You know what I'm saying? And
like,
that's just kind of how
that's how y'all think. Look, but I got to each his own.
Yeah, like and then like some people was like really attacking me and like she should never be insecure. And I'm like, dog, you ain't never been insecure
That's
about nothing. And then people be like, nah, I ain't never insecure. I'm like, oh, okay.
everybody got insecure.
So much your confidence.
Yeah, I'm saying I'm trying to be like you.
Hey.
But but I think that, like I said, I think the most positive feedback I get from this is people having the conversation, wanting to talk to you about, oh, y'all had this topic on the podcast, or even like the last shit. Just recently, when we talked about death, I had feedback from a few people where we were talking about, how we dealt with death and how we dealt with like recent deaths in our lives. When me and Ash was talking about our dads, Wash was talking about grandma, everybody was having a good conversation about it, and so people came back and were like, hey, I've been dealing with a lot of that kind of stuff too. Even my mama hit me. I tell my mama not to listen because I cuss too much on here.
Yeah.
Like she hit me and was talking to me about it.
To this?
Not regularly, I didn't think, but that death one.
Your mama love you.
Oh no.
Yeah, that death one, like she did.
I'm gonna work on my cousin.
She not called because I'm more than you do.
No.
Whatever.
But was she too moved by that one?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like it's the little things that we just because that conversation came out of nowhere because I really didn't know that it was the anniversary of my father's death when we recorded.
Oh, yeah.
And so like we were just talking. And so it's those types of conversations where we stay on topic, but we get deep in that topic that like really set it off and get a lot of feedback from. So I really
and it makes you very open and vulnerable because people will know my business.
But I think for the right people, that works. Because that makes.
Because I need to hear that too. Like I need to hear like what's going on.
People need to feel like everybody's not perfect.
Right. I ain't perfect.
Yeah, so when you hear stuff like that, you be like, damn, I feel like that too.
True.
And it opens up a conversation with that person because you're going to talk to somebody that feel like you.
True.
You know what I'm saying? Versus I would never approach you if I never knew you, never felt like that.
Right. But, I mean, overall, I think that this experience has been great. Whether, like I said, whether we get to the point where we're making a real monetary, some real, you know, what the word, fucking word on my phone. Like we find some real monetary value out of it, we start getting paid for it. Whether or not we ever get to that point, I think that there's a purpose. And so I feel as long as we're serving a purpose, you know, fruits will come as they may. You know what I'm saying? And so like I feel good about this 99th episode going into 100 because I feel like if nothing else, we are affecting each other and the few people that give us the feedback. You know what I'm saying? We get a few hundred listens every time we do it. And for that, like I said at the beginning, that's a few hundred people that you sit down and actually listening to what you have to say.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I think one of the biggest things is, like I say, it's not shitting on anybody else because everybody has their own, like I say, you should create your own platform to talk about what you want. Right. I feel like like I say, you have an open, honest conversation and everybody tells like what's on their mind, how they feel about stuff. We're not just sitting here like, okay, and stuff like that. Like you have some people that you might listen to, they be on some bullshit. We be like, they're trying to tell you how you should react or how you should be about something versus that, hey, we all are different. And like I said, you might have your opinion on shit, I might have my opinion on stuff, but we get out there and be like, hey, I can either agree to disagree, or I can be like, hey, I didn't even think about that way,
yeah,
and stuff like that. So it gives me the perspective on stuff versus me being like, oh, I know everything, whatever. Because like you say, we like I said, we all of us in our 30s and stuff like that, and we're all knowledgeable people, but shit, we don't know everything.
Yeah. Right. And I'm always willing to learn.
And we all have insight in different places, and like you were saying, the other appreciation I have for this podcast is that we have a diversity of topics.
True.
And so like we're not always getting up here talking about relationships.
And y'all not scared to talk. That's why I love y'all, because y'all not scared to talk about a lot of stuff. I'll be like, hey, we can talk about women this time, and then we can talk about, I guess we can talk about sports. I don't know.
we had a sex episode.
Yeah.
We had an episode about trans rights.
Yeah.
We had an episode about healthy food.
Mm-hmm.
We had an episode
Nelma.
Nelma, naturally Nelma. We had all of that. Like we've had a diversity of topics because they all cover things that need to be talked about in the black community. So I feel like we're not always talking about pop culture. We're not always talking about relationships. And I know a lot of podcasts, and that's not a knock to any podcast, because some of those are real fucking interesting. And all they talk about is relationships and pop culture. But they're just interesting people. And I think the diversity of topics is what makes ours unique. Because we're always talking about the black community and mental health and that kind of stuff and how different things affect it, but we're always trying to do something new with it, like always some kind of a new topic geared in that direction. So I think that we should continue in that direction and continue to push, and I want to have, like I said, we kind of doing this like a New Year's episode, but I want to continue to push for having more guests on and having more people to open up the dialogue on these conversations that we have.
Yeah. So if you're watching this episode right now, you want to get on, hit us in the inbox on Twitter, Instagram, email at what'sformedypodcast@gmail.com. You know what I'm saying? Give us topics, or you know what I'm saying, if you want to come on, shit, we invite you to come on.
Yeah. And I'm gonna get more active on the Twitter. I ain't logged on to
Twitter. Get back on the what's name on the in the chat.
Oh yeah, I ain't had the chat active.
The group me, whatever.
The group me. So I'm gonna add people on the group me.
If you want to get on the what's the remedy group me, whatever, you have it's like good conversation and stuff.
There's a lot going on at one time. I get back.
I don't use my group me at all anymore. Like for any of my group me, like I have a bunch of them. I muted all of them. Right? All my group.
You just not going off too much.
I was like, oh, this a lot.
Yeah, but that's something that was going for me. It was going like I would go look, and he wouldn't even like here's a start topic and then get out of it.
Because I'm up here reading like what.
I ask like one question and then people just start going back and forth and I just get out. I come back later when I add some more time and then read. I add something to the topic and then I ask another question.
I thought that was a good idea.
And then it worked. Yeah. You just have to have people active.
Yeah. So before we end this, what you feel?
Anything to end on? Final thoughts?
I feel good. I feel better. I feel good about going into 100 episodes.
Yeah. I feel like for me, the biggest thing, and then I'll say what I have been watching that we haven't really done. Right. But I think the biggest thing that I can say about going into 100 episodes is that I don't feel like I wasted my time.
No.
You know what I'm saying? Because I think a lot of people, when they get to a certain point, that's why a lot of people stop doing it. Is because they're like, you know, man, I mean, it ain't blowing up right now, and I've been doing it for like a year, so I've been doing it for like 6 months, and I'm done, so I ain't really been to fuck with it no more. Like, I don't give a fuck. I'm not gonna say I don't give a fuck. I really am less concerned with us blowing up as I am getting the content out and actually having the conversation.
Yeah.
So I'm happy with the conversation.
I enjoy that. This actually had me being on here. Y'all asking me to be on. Actually helped me look at other people's podcasts. I didn't look at podcasts like that.
Right.
That I listen now. I was like, oh wow, I learned a lot of stuff. And I ain't never looking to like, man, this can get me somewhere like that. It was just more like I could be myself.
Mm-hmm.
And if you like it, you like it. If you don't, you don't. But I'm around people like that like to have a conversation.
Yep.
That are like more like me or whatever. Or,
Well, like you're saying, because like I said, it only takes one episode, one clip to go viral or people to pick up on.
Mm-hmm.
But like, even with the small success or whatever success that we've had, whatever, like you told me a couple of times where you've been out somewhere, somebody be like, hey, you on that podcast, this and that. You like, who the fuck are you?
Yeah. I gotta watch what I be doing on Instagram. I be like,
But like I said, that tells you like that also like reminds you that the effect that you have, whatever. That at the end of the day, it's like, oh, I'm just not doing this just to do it, because at the end of the day, you're gonna have somebody randomly like, hey, I've seen you before, blah blah blah. And you're like, oh, okay. You in that moment you realize people are paying attention.
Yeah.
You have a purpose.
Yeah.
Like, you see that you have a purpose by doing this. So I think that's a good thing.
Yeah, so before we end it, whatever, like I said, we're going to our 100th episode, and just want to give a shout out to all the people that's like been a part of this podcast, and like so all the different podcasts that we've had. Like I say, give a shout out to Danetta, you know what I'm saying, honorary foot member, pretty much, when she was coming on. Yeah, when she ain't working like a Hebrew slave and stuff like that, and give a shout out to Akila, whatever, because she gives a lot of support.
She gives a lot of support too.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying?
She supports you like an auntie.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
It's a shout out to her. Like I said, all different podcasts, whatever, like Facts of Life, Naturally Nelma, Truckcast,
Single and
Loop, Marshall's Plate,
Marshall's Plate.
What is that? Everything Culture.
Everything Culture.
Boy, Chris Green.
What's up?
Who Can Blame You Hookah? Like, make sure y'all check that out.
Who Can Blame You?
Who can blame you?
Yeah, who can blame you? Who else? Single and Loop, you said, right?
I said Single and Loop.
Yeah.
If we leave anybody out, it's just because we going off the top of the head.
Yeah, you've been on Social Complex and
Egos and Opinions.
That's what you've been on.
Yeah.
And
Ashley is the face of our podcast.
No.
Ashley the face of the podcast.
You know what I'm saying? Group Chat Live.
Group Chat Live. How about them?
And stuff.
Yeah, I missed some of these episodes.
And
we would like you to come back on. I missed some of this shit.
Lemonade Talk.
Yeah. I missed some of y'all. I missed a lot.
Yeah.
I missed a lot of people.
Yeah, so I'm saying all the people we name, whatever, once I come back
I
on.
miss you.
And I know we have some individuals, you know what I'm saying, not part of podcasts that have been on too. So,
shout out to my girl, Sade.
Yeah, Sade came on, whatever.
My homie Larry.
Yeah.
What up,
that was an interesting conversation. Yeah.
It was. I was gonna say that was what about good.
Yeah, that was good. He had a book
out.
Yeah, don't put that on. Yeah. Shout out to that him. But like I said, to everybody else who's been on the podcast and all different podcasts, whatever, I'm gonna put that in the descriptions and stuff, kind of like getting everybody a shout out, because hey, we've been doing this and y'all been a part of it.
Your boy Rito was on here.
Yeah, Rito was a guest and the host and everything else.
Yeah,
he was on here. So you know what I'm saying? And that HBCU boxes, shout out to Derica.
Yeah.
And everybody else, and make sure y'all get y'all HBCU boxes. And many more for this year.
Yeah, we're gonna add to it, because we've been turning out these episodes, but we're gonna get more people on. So.
Yeah, but like I said, in the description, I'm gonna put a shout out to that, because like I say, we want y'all, if you've been on the podcast before, we want you back for this year. And if you haven't been on the podcast, we'd love to have you for the first time.
Always.
Preach.
We always love conversation.
Yeah.
Amen.
So with that being said, as always, we hope you laughed a little, learned a lot. We hope we have helped you find the remedy to what's troubling you. This is What's the Remedy podcast.
All right,
Yeah.
y'all.
Yeah.